Time for Money Power Politics. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent warned today that U.S. growth could take a hit, he says, because of the government shutdown. Remember, the U.S. economy has been on an upward climb for the last couple of quarters, despite growing anxiety about inflation, tariffs, and what's gotten to be a more fragile labor market. Unfortunately, we might not know for some time whether Bessent is right or wrong, because the shutdown has triggered an economic data blackout. With me now to discuss, Natasha Surin, former Treasury official and Yale law professor, and Max Chafkin is here, Bloomberg Business Week journalist and host of Bloomberg's Everybody's Business podcast. Natasha, shutdowns don't normally have a big impact on the overall economy. Does Secretary Bessent have a point? Is this time different?
So it's true that in general, the nature of shutdowns are such that to the extent that you see any impact on GDP over the course of the shutdown, you then see the economy recover those losses as soon as the shutdown is over. That said, shutdowns are immensely disruptive. They're terrible for the workers who are furloughed, who aren't going to see paychecks until the shutdown is concluded. But the thing that I'm really worried about is we very well might not be in normal times shutdown. Because in normal times shutdowns, what happens is for a period of time, well, we do this strange negotiation with Congress with respect to continuing to fund the government. You then kind of go back and the government functions as it did before. What you're hearing from this administration sort of pretty explicitly is they're trying to use this as a moment to make massive cuts to the government that will be hugely disruptive and will have huge economic impacts.
What is your take? Because as Natasha's laying out, right, Scott Bessent is not mentioning tariffs, the president's attack on the feds. What happens if vast numbers of federal workers lose their jobs completely, permanently, forever?
Yeah, I mean, the reason shutdowns are normally not super disruptive for the economy is that the employees get back to work, they get paid, nobody loses their jobs. What Trump is threatening to do is fire some workers, and he's saying it in all sorts of different ways. And you're right, Steph, on top of that, you have all these additional economic disruptions. What it sounds to me like is Secretary Bessent is looking for a way to hang some of this bad economic news that's coming kind of fast and furious in all sorts of different sources on the Democrats, and acting like the shutdown is causing it, rather, as you said, the tariffs and all these other disruptions.
For every CEO that I speak to, especially in sort of the consumer product space, ain't nobody complaining, saying that the shutdown is hurting them. It's one thing. It is the tariffs. Natasha, talk to us about this economic data blackout. We know that the president is not happy with the Bureau of Labor Statistics. He's been very unhappy with the numbers we've gotten. A lot of people aren't happy about the big revisions. All of that aside, U.S. economic data is still the gold standard that the Fed uses, that private investors uses, that companies use. It is what it is.
We are the envy of the rest of the world because we have access to in real time information about what is happening in our labor market that is in fact incredibly reliable and getting more reliable over time. There's a lot of ways in which we can improve that data collection, but I'll say tomorrow is going to be a perfect indicator of exactly why we need the Bureau of Labor Statistics to put out jobs numbers. We have private sector data that's telling us that the economy added 60,000 jobs, other private sector data that's telling us that the economy lost 32,000 jobs. Those types of data aren't equipped to provide investors the kind of certainty they need with respect to what's happening in real time with the economy. And frankly, they're not equipped to provide the Federal Reserve with the information it needs as it weighs what to do with interest rates over the course of this horizon when we're at kind of a tenuous moment with respect to the labor market, precisely because of all these tariffs and all this economic uncertainty.